Welcome, dear viewers, to CouchWarrior TV on YouTube. I am the CouchWarrior, and you are watching Arcana, a Skyrim Let's Play. Thank you for joining me for Part 3 of Chapter 10. Chapter 10, of course, called Soliloquy. This is officially the last episode in Act 2. Welcome back to the story. As you can see, I'm playing around a little bit here with convenient horses, just trying out the different armor options that are available for the horses through that mod. I'll be honest with you, I'm not super thrilled with any of them. I thought I would like them more than I did, but I'm sort of inclined to think that I may end up going with just a straight up black saddle on this beautiful horse at some point. Now here, this is an interesting new mod. Let's talk about it a little bit. I'd like to buy some herding supplies. This is part of my plan to take care of my horse and any future horses. Now I am also going to buy a dog for the express purpose of protecting my herd.
How much?
$1,000 for the gear, another 1,000 septums for the dog. Now the beauty of this deal is, you can see the huge backpack I have on. That is actually my herding gear in there. Now what I can do is drop this gear and it will plant the flag. Now this is actually going to be the location where my herd will gather. So as I go out and I purchase horses from different places, including ones I already own, and ride them, they will be given a custom name, and they will be added essentially to the area surrounding that flag. So basically what happens is, in the future, if I am riding a horse, I dismount that horse will return to that flag where it will be part of a herd, and it will be protected. I can have it protected by up to 3 different dogs that will hang around. And so then if I decide to move my herd, I can pick up that flag and I can ride anywhere I want to, and my entire herd will follow me. Kind of interesting. So I thought that was cool. I'm going to plant my flag there. I've got a horse that is out there somewhere that we are going to add to that herd. Although I'm not entirely sure what happens to that horse automatically. I've heard some people say that one of my followers might pick up that horse as their own, and I think that may have happened. I believe that Valfar may have actually picked up my old horse as his new one, but I have to confirm that. However, I would like to get at least one horse from each of the major cities. They all look different. They're all gorgeous, and it would be neat to kind of add one of each type of horse to my herd. So I intentionally planted my flag there near Whiterun. It's centrally located, and it's also near the stables where presumably there are people there who can care for them and feed them. And then I've got a single dog to guard them. As I add more horses, I'll probably add more dogs as well. So let's figure out where we are here. Now, in the last episode, we had our future told by Olava the Feeble. She told us of this ancient assassin's armor, kind of gave us an idea of what she saw in our future for the sanctuary. And now we are on a mission to locate the assassin of old. And there it is. Now this is going to take us to Deepwood Redoubt, which is not far from Dragonbridge. But I've been here a few times, and if I remember correctly, the location that it's showing me, or where it's pinpointing the armor, is not actually where I need to go to get inside. It's kind of a trek, actually, and I remember it being a bit difficult to find the entrance. So I'm going to start by traveling to Dragonbridge, and then we will leave our horse in Dragonbridge and travel on foot up through the mountains. Somewhere there is a seam or a pass that will let us get up through the mountains to where we need to be. So that is our plan. I want to thank you all for coming back and for all your kind comments that you left not only in the last episode, but in my Act 3 teaser. I decided to put that out. I was actually in the process of trying to work on some new intro material for Act 3, thinking about what I wanted to do, and I came up with that footage, about 2.5 to 3 minutes of footage, And I thought, wow, this is actually turning out pretty cool, and I just think I want my viewers to see this. I thought it would be fun to put it out and just kind of hear what people have to say based on their vision of that, and have a little speculation on what might be happening in the future for Fleet. So what is happening? Well, of course, any telling of his future is something that Fleet is going to be intensely interested in. Remember, he's a man searching for answers. He's searching for answers, and he is trying to absorb everything that's happened to him in the last 3 episodes and put that all together and understand what it means on the whole, right? So having an opportunity to have a glimpse into the future and understand that somewhere out there is a gift waiting for him, something that's been left by an ancient predecessor, perhaps even one of the ancient progenitors of the organization he's a part of, someone else who is also a follower of Sithis. This now becomes a major priority for him. And it's worth mentioning that, if you remember, in all of his past transitions, we have seen Fleet engage in some sort of ritual. And the ritual is really there to sort of mark that change. It's sort of putting a milestone on the timeline of his life, saying this is when something major happened, something important happened that began to steer the next chapter of his life in a new direction. So these are transition points, and they're worthy of some kind of ritual marker. So this will certainly be no exception, and I would say that in this particular case, because of his encounter with Sithis and his newfound independence, he will place more importance on this transition and the ritual of this transition than any in the past. So this is going to be much more involved than his past transitions, much more than retreating to a secluded cave to actually build the armor. This gift is being bequeathed to him by someone from the past. So this isn't about him creating anything. It's about him being worthy to don whatever it is he's being gifted. And so this ritual is going to be more of a testing ritual as opposed to more of a spiritual or religious type of ritual. It's going to be trial by fire kind of a test. But we will be getting to that very shortly. For now, we're stopping off, having a quick rest here in Rorikstad, getting a bit to eat, and we're kind of waiting for darkness, to be honest. We want to get a little bit, want things to get a little bit darker. We are going to be traveling again into Dragonbridge, which is someplace that we've had trouble in the not too distant past. So we want to get through Dragonbridge very quietly and ascend the mountains beyond Dragonbridge, and then from there we'll be looking for a secure place to leave our horse and continuing on foot.
Nefe's journal. He's been gone for nearly 2 days now, and not even Valthar knows where he's gone this time. None of us saw him leave. 1 minute he was sitting by the fire reading journals, and then he was just gone. I think we're all hoping that perhaps he was walking to Riverwood for a drink or supplies, but it's become clear that he's not coming back anytime soon. His travel gear is missing from his room. He probably never unpacked it. Valthar is frustrated. He paces the Great Hall constantly, and from time to time he'll go out to the balcony to search the roads below. Lydia finally ordered him to sleep. Surprisingly, he listened to her. As difficult a person as Cimmerian is, I think I understand. I don't know the entire story, but I know there has been tension in the sanctuary, and I'm sure this weighs heavily on him. I also get the sense that something has changed in him. When he and Valthar returned, I could feel it in both of them. Something happened, and they're not telling us. He said almost nothing. He's never been chatty, but this was different, and when he finally did look at me, There was a predatory look in his eyes that gave me chills. He has never looked me up and down. It was uncomfortable. When I was in his room this morning, I found his journals. I was tempted to look at them. I can't help but feel as if I could help him if only he would let me in. I still know almost nothing about him, but I get the sense of familiarity when he's around that I can't ignore. I hope he returns soon. Everyone is on edge, and I think Valfar may be preparing to leave.
Well, we've made it once again back to Robber's Gorge, one of our favorite haunts. I'm not entirely convinced that some bandits haven't come back here, so I'm going to approach cautiously and see if I can spot anyone. Nothing I hate more than riding through Robber's Gorge and having a bunch of boulders dropped on me, so we'll just take a quick look. Oh, there's movement right there. Alright, that's one down. I don't know if there's any more than that. We'll take a real quick look, but I'm not going to go up in there. If we take one off the walkway, the others should respond if they're here. Mainly I'm concerned about the ones in the walkway. They're the ones who are likely to spring a trap on us if we're riding through. So we take out the one quietly, and then we're going to blast through there at a full gallop. Here we go. No trap sprung. That's good. Alright. We are very close to Dragon Bridge. Time to get our game face on, if you will. So, it's interesting. This area where we're heading, there's, for those of you who've been playing Skyrim for a while, you know the area I'm talking about. It's kind of a little pocket up in the mountains behind Dragon Bridge. It's accessible by the road if you ascend the mountains beyond Solitude and kind of head in a southwesterly direction. You can access this hidden valley from that side. You can also access it from the Dragon Bridge side by just ascending the mountains. There's a path that goes up for a while, but then it just kind of vanishes and you're on your own. That is the route we're taking. It's the route less traveled, and it keeps us off the roads, certainly off the roads anywhere near Solitude. So I don't see any guards about at the moment, no torches. So we're just going to quietly walk our horse down here past the mill. There's a stream here. We'll cross the stream and kind of get up the path a little bit. Now going this direction, the main thing that we have to worry about early on is wildlife. Wolves and bears, things like that. So we'll just be moving along cautiously, and we'll probably be making liberal use of our Aura Whisper here to make sure that we don't get surprised. So here's the trail. I mean, it's mainly a logging trail. I think they're coming up here and cutting trees for the mill, but it only goes up so far. This seems like a good place. Just going to make sure that we've commanded Shadowmere to wait here. Nothing blows your stealth like a horse, so we need freedom to move. Every once in a while I pull an arrow and I just go to eagle eye view just to kind of scan the trail ahead. Doesn't do me a ton of good when it's this dark, however. So I think Aura Whisper is going to be our friend here. Let's make sure we have that queued up. It doesn't take much. It's just, I only have I only have one of the words in the Aura Whisper shout, but that's really all I need. Just a little bump every now and then so I can see some heat signatures, and that's it. And as is my routine, I'm always trying to get the drop on threats by taking the high road. Even if I miss a shot, it's going to take them long enough to get to me that I can prep and I can scope out their path of travel and basically set a little ambush for them. One wolf. Okay, there's his cohort. Now see, he's going to go around, but the time that it takes him to do that gives us time to set up. I can change position here, force him to come back the same direction that he left, and set the shot. So we force them to dance to our tune a little bit. We're going to take these hides. Taking the hides. Alright, there's another big heat signature there. That's probably a bear. Yeah. We'll get the drop on him. Excellent. See, this is all stuff that, with a little bit of Aura Whisper, a little bit of time and patience, we can get up through these areas without getting chewed on, which I love. I love to not get chewed on by the wildlife. So that is what we're doing. Interesting to note, ladies and gentlemen, I saw in your comments, people are actually thanking me for giving you longer episodes. You are welcome. I certainly have a lot of content, a lot of things that I want to cover for you, for me as well. And it's helpful if I can do it in a longer episode. So the fact that you're appreciating them and liking them, that's great. Because this one is going to clock in at probably, well, in terms of game footage, actual gameplay, we're looking at about an hour and 10 minutes. Okay. We got something going on here. We've got multiple heat signatures, one of which is wandering or patrolling. I think these are wolves. Once that Aura Whisper's gone, I kind of lose them in the dark here. Alright, well, we got these over here. It looks like 3 of them. We're going to open by taking one. Okay, the others will react. Okay, here they come. Let's set the path. One more down. Oh, here's a third. Whoa, he's moving. Alright, I missed that shot, so I bailed down the hill. Gives me time to regroup and wait for him to come again. Drop again. We got each other at exactly the same time. I did get bit there. That sucked. But one nip out of 3 wolves isn't too bad. So that's just basically kind of using the terrain to our advantage a little bit. Each time I back up off a ledge or jump down a level, it forces them to regroup and find a new path. It gives me just that much more time to regroup and set myself up for the killing shot. Buying time, ladies and gentlemen. So one of the questions that has come up since our transition episode with Sithis is this question of, is Fleet undead? And no, I don't believe that he is. I don't think of it that way. Being undead would require that he were dead in the first place. And, I think it was explained very well by one of the viewers when he basically said that it's kind of a spiritual death, as Sithis symbolically kind of takes possession of his spirit, takes possession of Fleet's soul and replaces it with something we're calling the Heart of Smoke. And what it is essentially, because his soul is already now the property of Sithis prior to his death, it makes his soul essentially inaccessible by other entities, which allows him to act freely. So, if you were to go back and review the words of Sithis again, one of the things that should stand out clearly to you there is this this freedom to act sort of theme, right? Sithis is really the progenitor of everything, the creator of everything. So just as Fleet or any of us are, metaphorically children of Sithis, so are both the Aedra and the Daedra. The Aedra and the Daedra are considered to be gods by many. However, their creation is directly linked to Sithis. Were it not for Padme or Sithis in the creation myths, none of this would exist. So, given that, if the goal of Sithis is to influence Mundus, and he is not able to do it in a tangible way, the same way the Daedra would, then he needs to create or empower an avatar on the plane of Mundus to act in his stead, right? Or to act in his interest. But what good is an actor if there are entities in the world who can unduly influence him or get leverage over him by threatening or taking possession of his soul, namely the Daedra? The Aedra have no way of sort of acting physically in the world of Mundus. They've been cut off physically from Mundus. However, the Daedra can appear. The Daedra can take action. The Daedra can place items inside of Mundus. And that also gives them the power to take possession of the souls of mortals, right? So this puts both Fleet and Sithis at a significant disadvantage when it comes to, say, leveling the playing field, right? It means that there's a whole set of actors in the world that Fleet is going to be hobbled when he comes up against, because he may be forced into a situation where he would have to sacrifice his soul or his spirit in order to operate for them or amongst them. So what this essentially does is it's the Dreadfather's way of leveling the playing field and freeing up his agent to act even against the Daedra without risking his soul. Now, look at who are these guys? I don't know if they're bandits or... Yeah, they could be agents of Stendar. We're going to avoid them anyway. There's no point in getting into a fight at this point. We've got a much larger fight looming, so we are going to stay stealthy about this. How close are we? We're awfully close. We'll go up through this way. So essentially that's what's going on here. The Heart of Smoke is basically a replacement for Fleet's mortal soul. His mortal soul has been given over to Sithis, but his body is still allowed to function in the world. As a replacement for his mortal soul, he has an approximation, which we call the Heart of Smoke, and the idea is that nobody can grasp or control smoke. It's intangible. So it allows him to act even against the Daedra without risking his soul, and he can still be committed to his god, Sithis, and not compromise either his soul or his beliefs in pursuit of his goal or his mission. So now that he's free to act, he's under this pressure to try to understand what actions to take. What does he do? What is his purpose? What does it mean? That's the one thing that Sithis didn't tell him. All he did was allude to the fact of this idea of balance and unbalance, right? and having the freedom to act and shaping the age, having the power to shape the age. What does that mean? So he is trying to interpret those words at this point, and his pursuit of these things is very much in line with trying to understand more about what all of this means and what actions he should take. So it'll be interesting to see how that all comes together. And I see this episode as being sort of a culmination of several things. It is a solidification of his power and who he is as the Cimmerian, but also what it means to be Cimmerian and what shaping the age means. Alright, so we are darn close here. I know what the entrance looks like because I've been here a few times. In fact, I think it was the very first episode of Dark Messenger that I did, broken into 3 parts, featured Centrosi attacking Deepwood Redoubt. Here's a wolf. Liquidate that guy. So we're going to have a little look around here. Make sure that we've got everything scoped out. And then we're going to take a moment to rest and plan our course. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so we're right in between. So if I look off to the right, I should see my entrance point. There it is. That's the trailhead right there. And there's a stairway. There's a stairway. Deepwood Redoubt is kind of long and meandering. It starts as a simple enough looking outside entrance, but then it turns into caverns and hidden valleys and all kinds of interesting things. I love Deepwood Redoubt. Okay, so we know where we need to go. Now I'm looking around for other threats. We do want to take some time to rest here, but I want to make sure we have kind of a secure place to camp. Let's have a look-see. There's some bandits or something over here, but I think they're far enough away. Oh, okay. There's a barrow here. Probably bandits there, but I'm guessing it's far enough away from where we would camp that we will be sufficiently concealed. So there's this little hill here with a cluster of trees. We're going to go up here and pitch a tent. We won't start a fire, obviously. We want to stay concealed in the darkness, but we'll pitch a tent and get a little rest. We've been traveling for a long time into the night, and we don't want to go into a battle tired. So we need a chance to rest, but we also need to be in the right frame of mind for this job that we have to do. And it's a ritualistic kind of spiritual pursuit, so we need to be in that sort of ritualistic state of mind. We'll start by getting some sleep. Pitch a tent. Here we go. We'll pitch our tent right here among the trees. We've got a little hill here with some mountains to our back. I think this will be a good spot. Very good. Use bedroll. Lie down. All right, now at this point, we can get a little sleep. All right, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning, so I think what we want to do is attack at dawn. 4 hours of sleep ought to be good. Nothing like a dawn attack. Okay, so I'm going to open the kimono a little bit, so to speak, here. I generally try to stay away from getting too much sort of game mechanics stuff into my footage because it ruins immersion. But I thought there might be some interesting things that we could do together here to sort of emphasize the ritual aspects of what he's doing. First thing I'm going to do is simplify the gear that he's wearing significantly, and this is symbolic of the struggle, right? Eliminating some of the gear that we use to help us in our endeavors, and going with something more stripped down that sort of exposes who he is to the world. So we are not going to be using the Silencer's vestments. We're going to get rid of our bandolier. But we're also going to use some ritual face paint. So here I'm going to the console. We're type show race menu. I've got a mod here that's got a modified race menu. It's going to let us do a little bit more here. We have a few more options. But what I'm going to do here is go to war paint. And I'm looking for something with some impact. We have to adjust it here. Oh, look at that. I like that one right away. The skull, the bringer of death, and we'll probably use white because white is the color that he has always used for his face paint in the past. So that's looking awfully good, so we're going to call that done. There you go, fleet. Now we are going to simplify the gear loadout. So we're going to keep our boots on because we need boots. We're going to keep our gloves because we need gloves. We're going to lose the hood. We're going to lose the bandolier. We're going to lose the mask and the armor. And we're going to go with a fur setup, which is reminiscent of where Fleet started. However, this armor exposes him more completely to his enemy and has more of a ritualistic feel to it that I think is in keeping with the ritual nature of what we're about to do.
The darkness swells within me. I can feel it, seeping to the surface as tar from beneath the sand. The tellings of lava, the premonitions I have been waiting for, the sign from the void. Siddhis has given me the gift to act, and now an ancient brother from beyond time bestows upon me the tools. The essence of chaos has no plan, or does it? There is order, even in chaos. In the end, what starts as chaos eventually comes to order and back again. There could be no life without order, but no creation without the divine spark of chaos. My role is not to sow chaos, but rather to rebalance this land. Balance and unbalance, the fate of this age is yours to shape. Today I take the power that rightfully belongs to me, the final weapons in my arsenal, and I serve the Dread Father with honor, embracing the title that I have been graced with. Baptized in blood and fear, Fleet passes into memory, and Cimmerian begins his work. To those about to die, pray to your spirits and honor them well. I will take your lives today, but understand that I do this with regret. Those I send to Siddhis this day are my own kinsmen, and men and women of conviction, proud warriors who have been misled by foul witches and become the unwitting guardians of the ancient artifacts for Siddhis and the Dark Brotherhood. I honor you and shall make your deaths swift and complete.
We have commenced our attack. Opening with a bow helps us clear a foothold here to approach. We don't know what is at the top of this daze, so we have to approach cautiously, but the bow is the perfect tool for allowing us to capture the beachhead, if you will, and create the space from which to operate. Alright. Okay, we've got another altar or platform over here. Looking for movement. And there is. So we want to clear this out, really. We don't want to risk any fights on the way out, and we don't want to risk leaving anyone at our flank, so
What was that?
let's see what we can do here.
Is
Gotcha.
someone there?
So the bow got us into position and bent the shadows. Helped us eliminate our final obstacle here. Now I think we're free. We can call this outside area cleared. We're free to actually enter the main chambers and start working there. We are going to be fighting primarily Forsworn here. However, down in the depths of Deepwood Redoubt is someplace that Olava described as Hags End. That gives us a pretty good indication of what we're going to find there. And typically where there are Forsworn, we quite often find hag ravens and witches. So the writing's on the wall. Little Draugr coin, never hurt. Now this looks like a trap. We're going to approach from the side. Oh yeah, see if we can avoid this. Yow. That was close. I almost never approach traps from the front. Almost always from the side. I can't tell you the countless times just that simple positioning has saved me. Alright. Some guys in the walkway over there, but we have these two who are sort of concealed from their view by this large stone pillar. We're going to take them out first. Got to take them out one after the other very quickly. There we go. Not allowing them time to run around and make a bunch of noise. Simple 1-2. See the sentries, they're still walking that walkway up there. This is actually really kind of a hard shot to make. One, he stood still long enough for us to get him, but now we've got them all riled up, so I'm going to try to draw them into a space where I can... Ooh, there's another one. Trying to draw them into a spot where I can cluster them up a little bit. This looks like a good spot here down at the end. Oh, there's another one I got. Okay, one left. I can't really tell if my arrows are connecting with a wall back there, so I don't know if I'm making sound or not. But what I want him to do is situate himself down there in that corner. He's not coming back. Well, here's a guy here. Where are you? Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. Oh, man. There is a wall there. Okay, come to the wall. Come to the spot. Come to the spot. He's moving so fast. There we go. Always looking for that pause every once in a while, you know. You gotta, if you can be prepared when they make that pause, you can just loose the string and it's done. But as happens so often, when they do make that stop, I'm not ready. And so, by the time I release, they've already moved on. A good headshot there. Alright, this is nasty. Got some runes on the floor here. Okay, so one thing that always makes me nervous are Forsworn mages. They tend to be like a little bit tougher than you would think. So we're going to use some caution here. I don't know if I can get on top of here. Stay up there. I'm kind of sliding off. Did I wake anyone up? My thought was if I could stand on top of there... Oh, yeah, we did wake someone up. If I could stand on top of there, that gives me a clear shot over the top of these rocks right down through the door. But I don't think I have enough headroom here. Yeah, there's not really enough headroom. I'm going to have to come up with a different option. Alright, got some bone chimes. I'm going to try to squeeze between these. It's delicate. It's delicate! Let's look at what we got here. Thinking Ghost Walk might be a good one here. So I'm going to try to squeeze through here without setting off the bone chimes if I can. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Ah, did it. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, look at that. She was up, obviously. Now she's back to sleep. So this is actually a perfect opportunity for Ghost Walk. We got 10 seconds to get in there, take her out while invisible. Let's do it. She is done. We didn't put ourselves at risk there. Ooh, key, that's good. So Ghost Walk, of course, is an illusion spell, apocalypse spell package. I've mentioned it before. We get 10 seconds of invisibility, and when the duration of the spell has ended, it teleports us back to the spot we were in when we cast it. Do not presume we have grown fat and complacent here in the north. Our matriarch was wise to bring us here. Our camp is secure, and our numbers grow. We will not skulk in the shadows. When we strike, we will do it with cunning and power. So they're obviously planning an attack on the occupiers. The occupiers in this case are Stormcloaks, because Ulfric has basically taken Markarth and the surrounding territories away from the previous rulers, who were the Forsworn, or representatives of the Forsworn. So there is kind of a mini civil war plot going on here in the Reach. Alright, we're going to avoid those runes. Okay, back to the bow. Alright, I think that key saved us a lot of hassle. Now, I believe we've eliminated all these guys. Yep. It's pretty quiet up here. I think I just picked up a Forsworn bow, which I don't really want, but it was sort of accidental. I'm probably going to have to jettison that from my inventory, but I'm on a roll here, so I'm not going to stop. Alright. What's this? Admin of the Reach. Already have that book. Of course, as was alluded to, from Fleet's prayer, the Forsworn are primarily his kinsmen. Most of them are Bretons. So it does bring a little bit of sadness to his heart, killing his kinsmen, but it's a necessity. And we know that the Forsworn are pretty rabid killers. They will attack just about anybody. So there's not much we could do about that, but it will have an impact. Always sad to kill your kinsman. Okay, here we go. Come and get it. Got him. Alright, we're going to change position here. Now, the interesting thing here about an attack on this area is how spread out they are. It is actually possible for me to attack on the right-hand side without the combatants on the left-hand side knowing what's going on. Okay, that's the 2 primary sentries eliminated. It still doesn't look like we've kicked up a hornet's nest in there yet, so still pretty quiet. Well, let's see if I can get a little bit better view here. Maybe get up a little higher even? Yeah, sure, I can get up behind this tree. I really want to try to get good vantage points and try to see as far down into their encampment as I can so I know what I'm dealing with before I go in. Look at this girl sitting here. She's sitting here at a table. I'm going to take her sitting down. That's 3 down. Okay, somebody's on alert. Look at, he's got weapons drawn. He presents himself, and we take advantage of that opportunity. That's 4. That's what I'm talking about, you know, being ready to fire. So if I'm ready to fire on a moment's notice, or I've got a shot sort of queued up, all it takes is that little momentary pause, and I'm ready to let the string go. And a lot of times I can pick up an extra kill or 2 rather quickly that way, right? Because I'm not waiting for the pause, I'm ready for the pause. So alright, let's go up the middle and see what we got. Okay, there's a Forsworn on top of that platform. What I want to do is draw her down here where we can fight her out in front. I don't want to run up there and end up surrounded. Okay, so she sees us. Gone to dagger and bend the shadows. Surprise!
Is someone there?
Oh, took a shot. Through the heart. Alright. Just a brief word about kill cams. If you remember, the end of the last episode, Fleet trained 5 levels up to 50. Oh, here we go. We'll go with range. Ooh, simultaneous release. Ooh. And we got him before he got us. Alright, we did sustain a little bit of damage in our last hand-to-hand duel there. So we got to recoup a little health here. But as I was mentioning, we trained up 5 levels. We are now at level 50 in one-handed. Of course, those levels in one-handed are going to help us with our dagger attacks, which is great. But it also means that we're sort of approaching this threshold where we're going to start getting more frequent and interesting kill cams. Now, the variation on kill cams is going to change a little bit too, depending on whether or not I'm using a dagger or I'm using swords. And I think we're going to start seeing a bit more sword play in the action in Act 3. And the specific reasons for that are that I'm going to different blades, and I think I'm finally going to be able to get those blades crafted up to a point where they do decent damage. Here we go. Behind her. Back off so she misses. Another one straight at her. Behind her again. Killing shot. We've got an opponent behind us. Stay away, stay away. Her.
What is rightfully ours.
Come on. Sneak attack. There we go. And the flip. And the throat slit. That's a brutal one. That's a brutal one. Okay, let's explore this tower quick before we move on. There are actually a lot of Forsworn here. It is fortunate that we have our high levels in stealth, because if they were to attack us all at once, Fleet would be screwed here. So as long as he can maintain stealth and pick them apart surgically, we're okay. Alright, let's move back this way. I don't want to get too far into that next tier until I know for sure that I have our flanks covered. One problem with fighting the Forsworn is they don't carry a lot of loot. You're not going to get a lot of septums fighting them. Alright, let's shed some stuff. I got some dead weight here. We got, I don't really need this mace. I don't need a Forsworn bow. And I'm taking out the trash here. Look at this, too. I got a bucket. Why am I carrying a bucket and a pot and a flagon? Oh, man. Look at all that trash. Let's get rid of it. Of course, we're not using our bandolier and some of the fittings that go with it, so our carry capacity is a little bit lower than it would be normally. So taking out the trash is always a good idea. All right. So from this vantage point, alright, I got a couple heat signatures over there, and I got one straggler over here on the left. Let's go back up around, and we'll do a little flanking maneuver on him, rather than going up the middle. If I go up the middle, then I've got enemies on the left and the right. If I go back around this way, then they're all in front of me. Let's see if I can get a look from here and spot him. I think he's there. I think he's inside that little hut. Okay, we're going to go around this way. So it's the long way around, but by doing this, I will know at least that I'm not going to be attacked from behind. Okay, where is he? Oh yeah, there he is. Look at him backpedal. He's got the bow. Alright. Bend the shadows. Where are you? We're on him.
What was that?
No yielding. Ooh, I like that kill cam a lot. That's savage. Savage, ladies and gentlemen. Two-handed dagger stabbed to the chest. That's great. I think there are more kill cams in this game than people realize. It's not until you get up to high level and invest in the right perks that you start to see them. Now, I have the advantage here because I'm trying to create a story. I'm using a mod that will allow me to configure how my kill cams work. It's still somewhat based on level and perk, however. Okay, up we go. Now we're into the next tier. Okay, there we got somebody on the archery range. Ooh, look at movement to the right. Oh, this guy's nasty. He's a Briarheart. He's going to be a Briarheart. Oh, don't come here. Okay, this is an opportunity. It's risky. It's risky, but it's an opportunity. We're going to go to Ghost Walk, and we're going to attempt to sneak up behind him and pickpocket his heart. What are my chances? Ooh, 51%. Oh, I got him. Look at he just croaked. And we teleport back to our spot. She's none the wiser. And we're going to jump her with Bend the Shadows. Surprise. Alright, that went remarkably well. 51% is not great odds for me to hit a pickpocket. However, when I see a Briarheart, it's a rare opportunity to pull off that maneuver. So it's interesting. With a Briar Heart, as you may be aware, they go through a ritual where their actual heart is replaced with a Briar Heart, which is essentially a plant, but as part of that spell, they're supposed to gain some mystical power and stuff like that. They're extremely tough to fight one-on-one. They dual wield. They do lots of damage. But you have this rare opportunity, if your stealth is good, to pickpocket their heart because it appears in their inventory. So if you can pull it off, it's pretty cool. So whenever I see a Briar Heart, I can't resist the temptation to at least try. And I don't have huge levels in pickpocket, so my chances weren't real good. But we pulled it off. Okay, we got 2 enemies. One is asleep here, and one is in the hooch to the left. I'm going to go to Ghost Walk, kill this guy. That teleports us back out of the field of view of the last remaining guy. Now we switch to Bend the Shadows. Look at that. Switch to Bend the Shadows, and we're going to present ourselves to him, get his attention. And he should be the last guy we have to contend with out here. Come on.
I heard something. Never should have come here.
Oh. I think we got him just in time. He was about ready to unload on us. Alright, I believe that we have cleared the outside. This should give us access now to Hags End. And we continue the battle inside. There's a Briar Heart. No heart in his inventory. It's in ours now. And the fight continues. Now that we're on the inside, I think we'll probably go back to bow. Use our old standby to see what we're up against. Ah, there's a Hag Raven. Alright, we're going to do a little crowd control with the bow. Start by taking out the Hag Raven. She teleports. Now we're going to crowd control by putting some arrows into the wall. We want to keep our enemies clustered down at the end of this room if we can. See if they buy it or not. Not totally. 1, 2. Ooh, and a third one real fast. Well, we took a little shock, but could have been a lot worse. She didn't get a full blast on us before we took her out, so. Alright. Scrolls. That's good, even though I don't use them. This is obviously a horrible trap. There's at least 3 runes in here that I can see. I don't know that there's anything in here worth pursuing, risking those traps. So can't tell really if they're meant to guard something specific or if it's just a red herring to try and draw you in and get you killed. So I think we're going to avoid this mess. I don't see anything beyond them worth going after, so we're going to get out of here and keep moving. All right. Come on. There we go. Trap is sprung. Always take a soul gem. Alright, we don't know what's through this door either. Go with the bow. Obviously good for the crowd control. We located the ancient Dark Brotherhood assassin. We have acquired our gift. It is in our inventory at this point. Come on out. And we are rapidly approaching the climax of this side quest in Hags End. Alright. Another witch down. Let's go to the Aura Whisper. Yeah, big hole in the ceiling has spider written all over it. Love getting the drop on him if we can. There he is, right there. Come on down. What a mess. Alright. Take our venom, as per usual. What else is in here? There's a key. I don't know if I have that already, but we'll take it anyway. Doesn't cost us anything in terms of weight. Save us some hassles, potentially. Okay, let's continue up the corridor and see what we have in store. A chest. Oh, look at that. Disable this trap first. It was cleverly hidden behind a bag of coins. It would have been easy to just pick up that bag or to not see it at all. Very crafty. Oh, come on now. Oops. Pretty good stuff. Well, this guy's got coins too. Yeesh, nasty. Okay, let's fire a tester. Oh, yeah, we woke somebody up. More witches. Draw them to the top of the stairs. Ooh. Come on back here. See you. Oh, another one.
What was that?
There's that hag raven again. Let her have it. She's proving to be elusive. All right. What's in here? A couple things, mostly trash. These witches don't have much on them either. Anything in here? No. Empty, but somehow worthy of a master lock. Now you may have noticed that since entering Hag's End, Fleet has had the telltale red flames indicating he's near a word wall. And here it is. Looks like a good place for an ambush. I think we're okay. Let's go get that word. Ooh, slow time. That is another excellent word of power. We don't have any dragon souls to spend, but that's definitely one that we're going to want to spend a dragon soul on. Great for archers, in particular. The combination of archery and slow time is lethal. So I could see us using that one. Alright, this is it. We need to take out that hag raven. And she's beyond this door. So let's prepare ourselves. And I believe that once we have removed her as a threat, that brings us to the conclusion of Hag's End. There she is. Well, let's go back to the bow. Let's not do anything fancy here. We're almost done. Welcome, dear viewers, to the CouchWarrior TV After Show. Surprise! Anyway, I just wanted to take a moment to actually go over some things in preparation for Act 3, to give you a look at Fleet 4.0 as we enter into the Act 3 story and kind of set the stage for what's happening. I'd also like to take a moment to kind of go over the mods, how this guy is going to be set up going into the next act, so we can get some of those questions and concerns out of the way. I'll probably take some of this footage and also repurpose it in a channel update coming soon. But for now, because this does mark the end of Act 2, Chapter 10, Part 3, I wanted to take an opportunity to give you a glimpse into what's going on here and provide you with some information on the mods I'm using, how I got them set up, how they're configured, and answer maybe a few questions that people have had in the comment threads about what's going on with Fleet in the Aranis Arcana storyline. So here you can see we are still at Hag's End. We have just completed this adventure, which brings us to this phase of change I was talking about. As you know, we acquired a lot of different things. There's been some speculation on what's going on with Fleet in this 4.0 look. The trailer that I released, or the teaser, did not spell out clearly what the deal was, so I wanted to take that opportunity to do that now and speak directly to you, my beloved viewers, about what's going on with this character. So, as you can see right here, we have the Silencer's vestments. We are looking at, of course, Fleet 3.0. What we have acquired for 4.0 is a mod called the Evil Mastermind. Those of you who are familiar with mods are probably very familiar with this armor set. Evil Mastermind, if you recall, I was really speculating on how I could come up with a look for Fleet that would capture the menace required of the Dark Brotherhood and the nobility required for the Dragonborn. And I believe that this armor is the perfect mix of those two moods, if you will. So let's have a closer look. To start with, as part of us shedding our 3.0 look, we are going to be shedding all of this entirely. So the Silencer's vestments are going away completely. Now, along with the Silencer's vestments, also going away are the bandolier and the dark pouches that go with it. In addition to that, we're also losing the black mage mask and the eye patch that we've been using. Yes, the eye patch is going away. There is a story reason for that, and there's also a practical reason for that, which I will get into later. But the 3.0 look basically was a combination of, 3 different mods combined. Black mage, silencers, and bandoliers. Now, the 4.0 look is really no exception. We're going to be combining several different things. So right now we basically stripped down to, we got a ring and we got a necklace. These are kind of our standbys for archery bonuses that we crafted many, many moons ago. I'm probably going to have to take another shot at crafting these very soon. I've gone up a few levels in both smithing and enchanting, so I think we could make far better gear now than we could make at the time, so we'll get ourselves some additional bumps along the way here in damage. So let's have a look at this. The Fleet 4.0 look consists of several different items. First is the Mastermind boots, gloves, and armor. Let's have a look at that. Now, there's no doubt it's just gorgeous. It's a combination, I think, of both Asian and Renaissance influences. If you really get a close look, and I'll be posting some pictures, some up-close pictures on the Facebook page here later today, but if you get a really close look at it, and look at the actual plate gauntlets, the shoulder plates, and the plates that are on the boots, this armor has been I don't know what you call it, I guess embossed with imagery of vipers or snakes on it, which I think is fitting with Fleet's image. I love the idea of the snake as an emblem. And so we may make some use of that in the coming adventures. So this is the core of his loadout, is this new armor. It is considered light armor. It benefits from glass smithing, so I'll be able to do a lot better upgrade of this armor once I acquire glass smithing. And yes, I am going to be taking the left side of the smithing tree, starting with Elven and working my way on up. Now, what else do we have in addition to this loadout? Now, I'm going to be borrowing items from other mod sets. One is Black Sacrament. We're all very familiar with Black Sacrament. The Tanto that he uses in combat is a Black Sacrament blade. There are some Black Sacrament items of armor that we have acquired and disenchanted to acquire their enchants. Up to this point, we have not used any items from the Black Sacrament armor. We've really only used them for their enchants and used the weaponry. But we are going to be using one piece of Black Sacrament armor, which is the Unholy Black Sacrament Cowl. Now, if we take a look at that cowl, it's a little bit different look than the Black Mage Armor cowl that we've been using previously. However, this one does have some steel features on it that I think mesh very, very well with the steel and leather features on the armor. So I think this is a nice match to put this cowl with this armor. Now, in addition to that, there are going to be some other looks. There's going to be a cold weather version of this armor. The cold weather version will include the addition of our rare black wolfskin cloak of Resist Frost. This comes from the Winter is Coming mod. And if we add that, you can see it actually looks really, really great. I mean, stunning with this armor. It has kind of a regal look to it, but it's also extremely warm. Now, the neat thing is with this cowl, then we also have a rare black wolfskin hood, which we can add for additional warmth. And it looks terrific with the armor, terrific with the cloak, great with the cowl. It's wonderful. Love it. Now, the other thing that we're missing here, of course, is storage. We've had an increased carry capacity up to this point by using the bandolier mods. We are going to continue to use the bandolier mods, but I am changing things up a little bit. We are now going to a set of pouches. We will no longer be using the bandolier itself because I think the over-the-shoulder bandolier would not work well with this armor. I think it would mar the look of the armor because really the armor by itself is beautiful. I don't want to add anything to it that covers it up. It also, the shoulder pad, the giant shoulder pad, does not play well with the cloak. So what I've done here is I have crafted 4 pouches, and rather than crafting them in black, I've crafted them in pale, which is essentially kind of a charcoal gray. And I've selected all pouches that are added to the side and the back. So if we add these pouches on, you can see we can't really see too much of a difference here. They're all concealed in his lower back behind the cloak. So if we take a look at this, if we remove the cloak and the hood, go back to our view of Fleet, you can see the pouches all line his back here. They're all along the back. Now I'm going to get a ton of storage carry capacity out of these without having an over-the-shoulder bandolier that is going to mess up the look of this gorgeous armor. So that is where our carrying is going to happen. Now, what I consider this to be is sort of the adventurer's look for Fleet. This is when he's out on the road doing his normal thing. When we get into cold weather situations, that is when we actually don our cloak and our hood, which is also a great look with this armor. Now, the thing that I really like about this armor is what I would consider to be Fleet's sort of ceremonial or ritual version of this armor. And to get to that, we again remove our hood. We remove the cloak. We go back to Evil Mastermind, and we've got 2 options here. One is a hood with a mask. The ritual version I would consider hood with a mask. You can see it's kind of a steel-looking mask, but it's got black, red, gray, silver accents. The other interesting point that I would like to mention about this mask is that the mask is, in fact, missing its right eye. There is no right eye in the mask, only a left eye. Which is perfect for Fleet, of course, because his right eye is missing. I cannot tell you, dear viewers, how long I've wanted to use this armor, and I've been thinking about it since well before Fleet lost his eye in the first place. So it's been really fun to finally get to this point and be able to get to where I wanted Fleet to be and to do it in a way that makes it feel meaningful. So, like I said, I consider this to be kind of ritual. This is the kind of thing that he would wear for intimidation purposes, for assassinations, for things that are important to him. And I think part of what really makes this menacing is the serene, sort of expressionless face that masks the savage inside, and I love the juxtaposition of the refinement on the outside and the savage on the inside of the armor. So I think that'll be kind of interesting. Now, the mask, of course, also looks just great paired up with this stuff. Let me try that again. We're going to take off the hood, and we'll go back to the mask and hood. There we go. So we get a really nice regal look. Now, having said that, we've got our cold weather version, we've got our ceremonial version, we've got our adventure and warm weather versions, right? All with the combination of a few simple mods. Let's talk about weapon loadout. Weapon loadout is very important, right? So let's talk about weapon loadout. And our weapon loadout must also complement what we're doing here. Let's talk at first about bow and arrows. Let's get a good look here. Now, I've gone with this mod for the silver bow. It's called the silver bow. It's created by a gentleman who calls himself Insanity on Nexus and Steam. He has created a variety of gorgeous weapons. In fact, he is also the gentleman who has created the mods for the Celtic Katana, which we are partial to. So what I've done is I've combined the silver bow with this armor. It seems to fit really, really well. It looks gorgeous. It's got, pretty decent base damage and does a little bit extra damage against undead, which is fantastic. I like that. It's not overpowered, but it looks fantastic and really matches this armor well. Now I've combined that with a retexture of the elven armor to black and it's got these red accents, which also fits very well with the armor we're using. The armor, of course, has red and black and silver accents. I've selected a mod here that reduces the overall size of the quiver, so you can see the quiver is much slimmer and it fits much better in this lower position underneath the belt line. So the beauty of this, of course, is that when we're wearing the big fur cloak, our arrows will be completely concealed beneath the cloak. And yes, this does indicate that Fleet is going to be going to a traditional bow. We are going to a manual bow. We're not going to use the conjured bow for a while. This kind of marks the transition to a more traditional bow. I just love the look of it. I love the feel of it. I love the elegance, and I think it fits very, very well with the loadout. Now let's talk about sword play, right? Up until this point, we've been using the Black Sacrament Tanto exclusively, but we are now going away from that. As you can see, here's the sword loadout. We've got our Sorrow Katana in black, which we acquired many episodes ago. It's got the beautiful wooden sheath and the accents that, again, match the sort of look and feel of our armor. In addition to that, tucked in the lower back, crossed the other way, we have a Tanto-style dagger made again by Insanity, who made the sword. It comes with the same set. I've done it in red, so we have again the black and red combo going on. Now, the way that this works is that I'm using dual sheath redux is the name of the mod. Getting this working is complicated. It is extremely complicated. First thing I had to do was use a new skeleton mod that would allow me to arrange the weapons on the body how I needed them to be. Then I used dual sheath redux, and then I had to get the correct animations in order for these things to look like they're being drawn from their current location. In total, to make this sword and dagger combination work the way that it is now, I had to install probably 4 or 5 different mods all in combination, and it was a series of attempts and misses and trial and error to get it to work. But I've got it working now just exactly how I want. So you can see we're drawing everything from the back, dagger from the left, sword from the right. And we get an animation that fits really well with the location of the actual weapons. All right. Now the beauty of this deal, of course, is when we go back to our... Let's go back to our... where did it go down here? Here we go. Let's go back to our cloak. The cloak conceals everything. The cloak conceals our arrows, our dagger, all of our storage pouches. The front of our armor is beautiful and clean still, and we have that nice hilt kind of sticking up through, presumably what I play off as a hole in the cloak that's designed for the sword's hilt. There you go, brothers and sisters. That is Fleet 4.0. I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos. I know that I create endless hours of things for you to watch, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch them and to comment and to get invested in the story. It's really important to me, and I really appreciate the fact that you're all commenting and participating the way that you are. It's gratifying to say the least. And I look forward to seeing you all, of course, for Act 3 of Aranis Arcana, Agent of Chaos.